Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunchbreak Live. Real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. Today's show, if you're easily offended, stick around. This show is for you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz, 2007 gastric bypass post-op, living as twice the woman in half the body, in recovery from obesity and compulsive overeating. So that's me. Now I want to know about you. Who's here? Got to put my glasses on for this so I can start seeing your shiny faces. Welcome, welcome. Let's see here. Here's what I want to know. How many first timers do I have? Anybody here for the first time? If you are, shoot me a number 1 in the comment section, okay? Hi, Jerry, welcome in. Shoot me a number 1 in the comment section if this is your first time joining Lunchbreak Live. Okay, hey, welcome, Jessica. I am so glad you're here. Right on. All right, let's see. How many of you guys out there are self-described drama kings or drama queens? Hi, Marie, I'm glad you're here too. So if you are a self-described drama king or queen, I want you to type me in capital letters and leave it in the comments, okay? I want to know exactly what my audience is made up of here. So if that sounds like you, big letters, me, all right? Let's see here. Oh, how many of you have absolutely no idea why you're here? That's fair. Type the, put the wow face. Okay, somebody the wow face. I love that. I want to see that. You're like, I have no, oh, that would be me. I love that, Lisa. You've got it all out there, right on. Okay, so send me the wow. Hey, Melissa, welcome in. If you have no idea why you're here. Not seeing a lot of wow faces, so that tells me you guys know exactly why you're here. And maybe it's because you're easily offended. This is the right place to be. So listen, as you guys might have guessed by what I'm doing here, this show is interactive. I think that's really, really important because look, I know you just see my face here, but you guys matter, and without you, there really is no show. So I'm not the only one with an opinion that matters. What you guys have to say matters. So I would encourage you to share freely here in the comments section. Whether you're watching live or on demand, it doesn't matter because I go back and read them. And other people that watch the show, read them. And go ahead and shoot me symbols as well after the fact. So hi, Marlene. I'm glad you are here. All right, so now on yesterday's show about hunger, cravings, and boredom, are no reason to call 911. You guys shared some really, really important stuff here. And this is how we as a community grow, okay, in our recovery. You guys shared about yourselves and you shared about your journeys. You talked about your fears and your struggles and you even laughed at yourselves. I love that. It's a good thing. I learned that not everybody here is a bariatric post-op. Some of you have problems with addiction. Some of you are both post-ops and struggling with addiction. And some of you don't fall under any of those categories. You're support people. So in other words, it's a really good mix of people around here who realize that we overfeed what's eating us for a lot of reasons. That's what today's show is going to touch on as well. Now, here is what occurred to me last night. Now, I'm going to do my best because I have a lot to say about this. And this is, only a 30-minute show. On a good day. So, you know what, don't be offended if I cut it off short or if I go long. I'm not sure where we're going to go with this yet. But I was wading through the comments section on, my innocent little question, about whether you call it weight loss surgery or bariatric surgery. Okay, it wasn't innocent. Granted, I did want to initiate some good, healthy discussion. Now, and debate too, of course. I want to have a little debate too. Healthy, that's the operative word, which it did, by the way. Now, at various points along the way, the idea of offensiveness came up, along with arguing, disagreeing, and certitude. Now, people have really, really strong opinions about a lot of things, but especially about what the type of surgical procedure that I had, should be called. Let's see, what they call it themselves and what it really does. So there was a lot of discussion going on out there. And basically, I think it was a really powerful thread, or three. It seemed like we splintered off into several areas. And I think it's going to help a great many people deepen their own understanding of bariatric surgery, or weight loss surgery, or obesity surgery, or metabolic surgery, or hip replacement, which is like a totally another story. But anyway, today I want to talk about something offensive. Okay? All right. I'm a left-handed person. Okay? You're like, what? What the heck? Okay. Hang with me. I'm a left-handed person living in a right-handed body. Okay, so, I mean, to be fair, I only write and eat with my left hand, and I do everything else, including swing a bat, cut with scissors, and move my mouse on my computer with my right hand. Interestingly, I can use a knife with either left or right hand, and I can do broad brush strokes, which I do tend to paint with either my left or right hand. Now, my dad was left-handed, but he was made to change when he was really, really young. He was told it was wrong to be left-handed. So apparently being left-handed was offensive, or maybe it was just determined in those days that it was impractical, and, you know, it would make life of a left-handed person, you know, unnecessarily difficult. I don't know, maybe that was their idea. Some people did believe, by the way, that left-handedness was a sign of the devil, honestly, and that's where the word sinister comes from. Unfortunately, this helpful change confused my father for the rest of his life. I mean, that may not have been the only reason, but still, it was like a really big deal because he had to like translate things in his head, and it didn't always work out. So he was confused. He was not allowed to be the person that he was born to be. I think he might have even been more left-handed than I. My mom, on the other hand, if you'll excuse the pun, I realize that's kind of punny. She's right-handed, and she said she could never teach me anything because I am left-handed, and but fortunately, the iron was ambidextrous. But apparently the sewing machine was not. So she was not able to teach me a lot of things, claiming that I did not use the correct hand, or at least the same hand as her. Anyway, regardless, I just want to know how it can be wrong to be who you are. You know, I mean, maybe being left-handed is harder or less desirable or less effective, but wrong? I don't know. Okay, for a long time, people were offended by left-handedness. And sadly, when you're like 4 years old, it's hard to take a defensive position on the matter, and you're going to do what you're told, whether you like it or not. A lot of things we get offended about are based upon how we were raised, our experiences, the things that happened to us, and other people's opinions, like our parents. Now, when we're young, a lot of us tend to agree with our parents, and then we become teenagers and we know everything, and we decide that we know best. The stuff they're peddling is downright offensive, and we learn to defend our position and be offended when others question it because we reason they're really just questioning us, and who needs that? Now, a lot of us think that we are always on the defensive because we're always offended, of course. And we don't give a lot of thought to the possibility that, oh, I don't know, we may be offensive ourselves. No. We are just too busy being defended and being defensive because we're being offended. So trust me, if we want to be offensive, we know what to do. Absolutely, we know what to do. If we want to be offended, we also know what to do, don't we? It's really easy. We become very, very talented and very capable, equal opportunity offenders and yeah, offenders. I'll just leave it with that. Now, here's a little bit of honesty. You've heard me say it. I'm on to me. Okay, I'm totally on to me. I know how to offend people. Very good at it. There are words that I use when I want to offend, and there are words that I use when I want to explain or invite healthy debate. When I want to mix it up, I know what words I need to use. There are words that shut people down and words that invite safe conversation. Okay? So if I say it in a way that encourages safe questioning, well, maybe that means I want to discuss and educate, okay? But if I say it in using scary words, or I shut you down, or I say you're bad and wrong if you don't agree with me, well, okay, that's why people get offended, okay? Many people become defensive even when there's no apparent cause for defensiveness. So, for example, let's say someone says, please wash your dishes when you're done eating, right? The defensive person immediately says, I wash mine all the time. It's not me. This happens around my office. People are on the defensive immediately. They immediately jump to conclusions and defend themselves against something that really wasn't offensive at all, right? Please wash your dishes when you're done eating. I wash mine all the time. It's not me. Okay, well, who said it was? Was the request offensive? Were you offended? If you were, you might want to rethink that. All right, how about this? I have not seen you wash your dishes after you eat. Would you please do that? Good heavens, that is so offensive. I cannot believe how offensive it is to suggest that you have never seen me wash dishes. I am offended by that remark. The person is saying they haven't seen you doing it. They are not saying you definitely don't do it. They're saying, I've never seen you do it. Would you mind doing it? Okay. All right. Easy for us to get offended about that, though, right? Oh, yeah, I'm going. So if you're offended, you might say this. Just because you haven't seen me do it doesn't mean I don't do it, and I am offended that you think I don't. Now, the other person might be really, really surprised that you took offense. And they may say, I wasn't being offensive. I was merely stating that I'd never witnessed you doing it and hope you will. Do you see what happened there? How many of you guys thought it was really, really offensive for someone to say that they'd never seen the other person wash dishes and would they please do it? How many of you guys took offense to that? How many of us fill in the blanks and decide that others mean something that maybe they aren't even saying? They mean to be offensive, so you need to be defensive. That's the conclusion immediately, right? 0 to 100, 0 to offensive in like 0 seconds flat. So far, here's the thing. We don't know if we don't know. But even then, we have a choice, okay? So filling in the blanks is saying we know what the other person is thinking. We know their motivation. We know their intention. We know what we know. Okay, but we don't know if we don't know. But even if we do know, we have a choice. Did you know that? We really do. So far, I have been saying things like, you got offended, you were offended, you felt offended. And I said the other person was being offensive, saying offensive things, and offending you. That's the terminology I've been using. Okay, what if I said you took offense? Does that change anything? You took offense at what the other person said. How about this? What if I said you found it offensive? I find that offensive. Does that change anything? I just want to know. Taking offense, finding offense. Does that change it? Is it different from being offended? I don't know. I think it does. So maybe I do know. I think taking offense or finding offense means that we are actively making a choice to be offended. We have control over it, in other words, though we might want to convince others we don't. Poor me. Poor victim me. Poor attacked me. You are just mean and offensive. But things don't just happen, you guys. We talk about this every day on the show. They do not just happen. We choose how we respond. We want to believe we are powerless victims, but are we? Bet you've never thought about it this deeply, have you? This is the stuff I think about instead of going to sleep at night. A lot of us say we eat because we don't feel like we have control. And then we say we don't have control over what we eat. Is taking offense to prove we don't have control a way of justifying eating? I am offended, so I am now going to go eat. Are we just giving ourselves, creating a reason to eat? Because I'm offended, I'm going to eat. It just follows, right? When I'm offended, I eat. Well, recovery has helped me to see that I took offense a lot. Oh my God. I was always on the offensive, being offended. And that meant that I did not choose to have control over my responses. I decided that I had no control, I was powerless, and everybody was just offending me, okay? And I was a victim. But I now know I can decide whether or not to be offended. Take offense, find offense, okay? I can also decide whether or not I want to respond. So in other words, I may feel something, okay? But it's what I do about it. Is that really offensive? I can question myself. Is that really offensive? But neither one of those things depends on the other. So in other words, I may feel offended, and then I can decide whether or not to respond, or I may not feel, offended, and can choose whether or not I'm going to respond. And neither of those things depends on the other person or their intent. So in other words, the other person could be offensive, but it's up to me whether I choose to be offended. It really, really is. Even if I am convinced they are trying to be offensive. Well, how would I know that? Well, for starters, maybe the other person would say, I am saying or doing this to be offensive and I want you to be offended. People don't typically say that, but let's just say they did. It is pretty hard to say someone is doing or saying something to be offensive if they don't say they're doing it to do or, say or be offensive. Do you see what I'm saying? People do not often say, I am being offensive to you right now. So we really, really don't know. But even if we do know, we get to choose the reaction. I spent a lifetime filling in the blanks and saying, oh, I know exactly what you're doing. You know what you're doing, and I know what you're doing. You're being offensive. Okay, but what does that get me? What does that do for me anyway? That's them, and I'm me. I can choose what I do just as surely as they can choose what they do. If they choose to be offensive, and they say, look, I'm choosing to offend you right now, I still have the choice over whether or not I want to be offended and then become defensive. It's up to me. This is not to say that we don't choose to be offensive sometimes, because we do. We usually know which words will be offensive, and we love to put others on the defense, right? Put them back on their heels, back off. I know what to do to be defensive. We know which words and which behaviors are going to get people all fired up. We're not stupid. We absolutely know what to do if we want to get people all worked up. And guess what? Other people know what to do to get us worked up. Our job is to not get all worked up. Passive-aggressive people, really great at doing this. And I'm, a recovering passive-aggressive person. I'm going to say something that I know will offend you. And when you respond that you're offended, I am going to take offense that you're taking offense at what I said. And then I will become defensive because you think I'm offensive. Seriously? That is the passive-aggressive behavior in a nutshell. I don't know if you followed that because it was so clever and smooth. I will read it again because I just think, wow, I'm on to me. I'm going to say something that I know will offend you. And when you respond that you're offended, I will take offense that you're taking offense at what I said. And then I will become defensive because you think I'm offensive. Wow. There's a lot of work involved in that, you guys. There is really, really a lot of work. And to me, that is like the furthest thing from recovery. Being offended gave me a reason to eat because I was being attacked. I was a victim. I had to defend myself because I was being hurt. Doggone it. So I would eat. I believe that defensiveness and offensiveness are things we actually have power over. I do not feel that our feelings, I understand that our feelings are automatic, like how we feel. Bam, I feel a certain way. I get that. Automatic, especially if we've been trained, especially if we have experience around passive-aggressive people or aggressive people or whatever who are saying, I'm going to be offensive right now. I get it. So we don't have power over how we feel, but we do have power over how we respond. We really do. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to let this eat me up? Am I going to let this get to me? Or am I going to let it just slide right off and say, okay, that's your choice. I don't know where you're coming from, but I have the choice over what I do with it. I really, really do. This is where self-awareness, courage, patience, all of that stuff that comes into the picture for me. I am aware that I am a recovering drama queen, as I asked you at the beginning of the show, how many drama kings and queens do I have here? I am aware that being offended is a super great reason to be dramatic. And since drama is addictive and feeds my victim mentality, the wise thing for me to do is to recognize that I have a choice in what I do. I really do. So my goal for you, my wish and desire for you, and my goal for myself is to find the most peaceful path wherever possible. I want to find the peaceful path, not the dramatic path. Okay? Not the drama, not the offensiveness where everybody's, at a fever pitch and they've cranked it up to, level 10. Okay? I don't want to go that path. And I know where that path lives. I know how to get there. I absolutely do. Because when I engage in something where I know I could take offense, well, that's just the very opposite of seeking peace. It is. I don't have to comment on everything. And I don't have to comment that others are offensive because they're commenting on my comment. It is okay to leave things left unsaid. I struggle with that, but it is okay. Believe it or not, I leave a lot unsaid. You'd be surprised considering how much I say. It is okay to feel offended and then realize it might really be about you. Since you are the person you have control over, you decide whether to find a reason to be offended and eat or not. So I think I used a bigger font, and that's why I thought it was like a bigger show. Anyway, hope you guys aren't offended by what I said. Actually, let me rephrase that. I hope you don't take offense or find a reason to be offended by what I'm saying. Look, this is my opinion, okay? I have experiences in this because I am a rabble-rouser and a pot stirrer. I know how to be offensive, and I know how to be offended. I know how to go on the defensive, and I know how to put other people on the defensive. You know, yesterday in the topic of discussion, I had some some side conversations going on behind the scenes from some people that I've known for a while, saying things like, see, I just don't put stuff on the wall that could be deemed controversial because I know people will be offended because they will argue and then they will be hurt and I have to go in and defend them. Why? Why? Well, first of all, we're all grown-ups here and everybody's deciding whether they want to express an opinion that they hold. And it's not my job to defend anybody. People are grown-ups, and you know what? If you don't like it, you don't have to stick around. That's okay. I just want healthy discussion and debate. Some people are, pretty firm in their positions, and pretty defensive of their positions, which may be contrary to your position. And it's very easy then to get offended because they defend their positions so well. Okay. That's where ad hominem attacks, by the way, come in, where we attack the person instead of sticking to the subject. When that happens, that's not good for anybody. But when you're on a debate team, for example, in school, you learn to defend both sides of the issue, the topic, no matter what side you personally take. Okay? So in other words, you'll draw out of a hat which side, pro or con, which side you're going to argue on a particular subject, and it's your job to go for that, whether that's your position or not, okay? That's what healthy debate looks like. Not everyone is good at debating. Some people do not like being challenged because they feel it's confrontational. They feel questioned, and in being questioned, they feel like it's a personal attack. And that's really all about us. I really believe that's about us, and that is the kind of stuff that we can control because that is the kind of stuff that does lead us to peace. That is the kind of stuff, when it's left unaddressed, eats us up, and then we feed it, okay? So there are a lot of things in this world that we cannot control. There are a lot of things in this world over which we have no power. And there are a lot of things over which we do have power, and there are a lot of things we can control. I believe this is one of those things that I can choose to control. I can choose what I do about it. And I think my greatest power is when I don't take the bait. I don't respond. Or I don't assume that there's even bait there to take. See? So I think a lot of assumption goes into offensiveness and defensiveness. I think we like to assume the worst about a lot of people instead of assuming the best. Instead of saying, you know what, I am feeling offended by what you said. I realize that's me, and I'm hoping that you can clarify your position a little bit because I don't like feeling offended, and I'm going to bet that you didn't mean to offend me. So can we try this again? Can we try this again? Because I really want to understand where you're coming from. A lot of us get scared if we can't defend our position. That's really what this comes down to. We take offense because we feel incapable of defending our position. And some of us set out to change the other person's mind and are offended when we can't do it. So let's think about all of that stuff as we talk about our lives in recovery from obesity and food addiction, compulsive overeating, okay? When we talk about that, let's look at these tough subjects. Be willing to step back and say, what part of that can I own? What part of that sounds like me? What part of that, am I about the drama? Do I get offended easily? Do I go on the defensive regularly? Do I go on the offensive? Do I try to offend people as a way of saying, back off, protect me? I'm protecting myself. Back off. I'm going to offend you so you'll give me more space. See, very manipulative stuff, but very, very unhelpful. Absolutely the opposite of peace. So I want you guys to think about this. And what I'm going to do It's like I got 5 minutes, and once I start wading into the comments, I go long. But I see Sue's comment. What do you do when people don't actually debate but attack? Okay, if it's an ad hominem attack where they're saying, you are stupid, you are bad and wrong, anybody that believes that is a fool. You still have the choice whether you're going to choose to go on the defensive and be offended or just say, okay, you know what? If that's how you choose to defend your position, you know what? That's not how I would do it. But, but you're more power to you. You're entitled. If that's how you feel you want to get your point across, you know what they say, you can win more flies with honey. Okay. So some people do that very, very seamlessly and very, very easily and very comfortably, and it's their way of putting people off. Okay. But again, I think really a big part of this is how quickly we fill in the blanks and decide they are attacking us. We conclude, oh, if I said that, I would be attacking you. Therefore, you said it, so you are attacking me. But some people would not view it that way at all and say, really? I don't feel like I was attacking you at all. I'm sorry if you felt attacked. I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention at all, and I need to back up the truck a little bit, and I need to retool or rework my argument, I guess. See, I really think we give other people power over us when we fill in the blanks and decide that they are attacking us, even when that may not be their intention. Or if it is, we allow them to land the blow. Do you see what I'm saying? Really, I can't change other people. I can't change you. I can't change the way other people argue. I can't change the way other people debate. I cannot change ad hominem attacks, but I can certainly change how I debate, how I argue, how I discuss, and if I am attacking others. I can change that. I can also change how I choose to react or respond or ignore whatever it is that's happening. I may say, you know what, this is not a place where I want to have a discussion. I don't feel safe having the discussion here, or I don't feel that this is going to end well. I don't feel that this is going to lead to anything positive or educational, so I'm just going to step aside right now and say nothing. What are they going to do? Chase you? If they do, block them. I mean, the point is, really, we have to take ownership and we have to take the power where we have it. It is not my job to change you, to change your mind, or to change your opinion. Would I like to if I believe that it could lead to a healthier life and recovery for you? Absolutely. Would I like to change your mind about something and have you think about things or see things in a different light if I feel that it's been eating you up by thinking the way that you did, and by changing the way you think about it, you won't feed it anymore? Of course I want that. But I don't want to beat you into it, because I just don't think that leads to anything meaningful or lasting or peaceful. So, I am going to sign off because you mean we have a choice to have peace. Thanks, Marie. Love it. And Beth, I love, because you were on the wall yesterday. You saw it going on. You were asking me challenging questions when I was getting ready to go to bed. Carrie, I just got to know, why did you even ask this question? What was your purpose in asking? I mean, I don't mean to be offended. I'm like, I wasn't offended. I think it's a great question. Why was I asking it to begin with? I love that. Of course, you and I know and respect each other. We are friends and we go way back. And we may not agree on absolutely everything. My goal in yesterday's conversation and in this show is to open up your minds and ask you guys to see things differently, consider things differently, and see yourselves differently, honestly, without fear, okay, and without running away. Because I really believe that when we are able to face ourselves, own our crap, and decide that we do have power, and we can choose where we use it, I think that only leads to good stuff, don't you? So I'm going to sign off. Love this. Thank you, guys. Oh, hey, Eric, say hi to Rosemary for me. I'll never hang up if I keep looking at what you guys are saying. I'm just so grateful you're here. And I want to encourage you to join me again. If this is your first time, I hope that you find that this is a great way to spend your lunch break or your afternoon or your time, on demand. I hope you will share it with others who think that, you think might benefit from this conversation. Because I think I don't hear this stuff being discussed out there. And I think it's really, really good stuff. If it leads to recovery, if it leads to lasting peace, if it leads to our not feeding things because they stop eating us up, well, by golly, then I've done my job. And that's a pretty good feeling. All right. So listen, I'm going to sign off and remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, choose to live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Share the show. Bye.